Hello guys, and welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be switching it up a bit. I'm not going to be talking about 32 teams, I'm not going to be doing a match draft, but I'm going to be talking about an individual team, and that is a team that I finally can talk about, who I have the merchandise for, and that is the Vancouver Canucks. It is so nice to be wearing stuff that of the team that I am talking about, but the reason that I am talking about the Vancouver Canucks is because, well, they could just make a playoff spot, but I don't really want to just talk about that. I want to look at how exactly they got to this point where they could make the playoffs and what exactly needs to be done for them to make the playoffs. Because with a loss against Ottawa in a shootout yesterday and LA beating Anaheim, that really makes things a lot difficult for Vancouver. But let's start off, like I said, from the beginning, because at the start of the season, they had Travis Green as a coach. And I had no idea why they brought Travis Green. I thought they should have got rid of them. But nonetheless, he's back, and under Travis Green at the start of the season, they went 8-15-2, and it looked horrible, and it was like, again, why'd you bring them back? I predicted them to bounce back and make the playoffs, but that looked like it definitely wasn't going to happen. But lo and behold, finally, they're like, oh, you know what we should do? Fire Travis Green. Oh my God, you're such a genius. Who thought of that? I don't know, but they did fire Travis Green, and what happened? They completely blew up, went on a massive 7-game winning streak, and then played very good for the rest of the season, because under Bruce Boudreau, they have been 30-13-9 and have one of the best points percentages in the league right now. With their overall record, like, it may look okay, but lately they've been great, like 38-28-10, all of that thanks to Bruce Boudreau. And thanks to Bruce Boudreau, they're now only 5 points behind LA with a game in hand. Now, they are fighting time. They only have 5 games left, and LA has 4 games left, but still, they're in a position where it is possible for them to make the playoffs, which is something that I honestly did not think was possible after that cold start to Bruce Boudreau, and under Travis Green, but what really got them to this point as well is their massive winning streak that they also went on recently. So they had that big winning streak, obviously, when Bruce Boudreau came in, and now they've had another big winning streak to help them fight their way into a playoff spot. Now, because like 10 games ago, I'll say it was like, okay, there's 15 games left in the season. They need to win about 11 or 12 of them in order to actually make the playoffs. And that was seen as insane. Vancouver at this time, you know, they're playing solid under Bruce Boudreau. Not insane, but solid. And they have definitely fought up to that challenge and lived up to those challenges, because they've gone on a 6-game winning streak, which obviously just ended to Ottawa, which changes things, but we'll get to that. But in this winning streak, they beat Vegas 5-1, and that was an impressive win because they needed that win to Vegas, and they dominated Vegas in that game. And then they went to an easier opponent, Arizona, where they also won 5-1, and then they played San Jose, another easy opponent, but they still got the win they needed, won 4-2. And then on April 12th, this is really where it was like they could actually do it, and that is when they beat Vegas in overtime 5-4. And this is when you're looking at Vancouver and saying, LA's not playing good, the Vegas isn't playing good. If Vancouver can keep winning, they could make the playoffs. And for a little bit, to their credit, they actually did win a couple more games. They beat Arizona, destroyed them 7-1, and then beat Dallas 6-2, another huge win that made them look like, again, they could do this. And sadly, last night, things can change so quick. They lost in a shootout to Ottawa 4-3, while LA beat Anaheim, and that has changed the picture a bit, but I'll get to that later. But really, this winning streak has brought them only 5 points behind LA, where earlier in the season, like 10 games ago, it was like 10 points. And now it's only 5 points. And if they can go out from here and play very well, it could just happen. But now, speaking of that, what does need to actually happen for Vancouver to make the playoffs? Well, looking at this is what I think needs to happen with these 3 teams, Vancouver, LA, and Vegas, to make the playoffs. At the very least, I think this is what needs to happen. Vegas, you kind of just want them to play mediocre. Any worse than Vancouver is fine. Now, LA is kind of in the same position Vancouver is right now. The reason I think Vegas doesn't have as much traction as Vancouver and all this media and everybody being like, make the playoffs, A, they're not from Canada. Vancouver's a Canadian team, they're going to have a big market. But also, Vegas, everybody hates them right now because they treated their players badly, the whole Evgeny Dadonov trade, and they're going to be over the cap. And nobody wants to see them in the playoffs because they're over the cap and all that, and they injured reserve, and they've been messing around with all that, and people just aren't very happy. So nobody's really cheering for Vegas, but Vancouver, on the other hand, is a absolute wagon right now. But Vegas, really just be mediocre, do any worse than Vancouver, and Vancouver is completely fine with that. But on LA's front, actually, let's go to Vancouver. It makes more sense this way. Vancouver's front. Vancouver has 5 games left in the season. I think they cannot lose another one in regulation. They need to at least go 4-0-1, at least. And the thing is, even if they manage to this 4-0-1 record, which are against some pretty good teams, they need LA to go 2-2 and no better. As soon as they win 3 games, they've clinched. That's how it works. If they win 3 of their last 4 games, it's over. They've clinched. Vancouver and Vegas both have no chance. But of course, talking about Vancouver in this video. So going 4-0-1 does put them at 96 points, where if Vegas wins those 3 games, I believe it puts them at 97 or 98, obviously, because it's going to be over them. But yeah, Vancouver, they have to win every game. And if they can win out from the rest of the season, definitely need to, because that puts some more pressure on the Kings. But again, it's going to be difficult, because if we look at Vancouver's upcoming schedule, on April 21st, I believe that is tomorrow, they play Minnesota. This is a playoff team. Oh yeah, the red stars on the screen will show playoff teams, because I'm going to put, or like, there will be a symbol there showing if it's a playoff team or not. Basically, yeah, you'll see it. But Minnesota is a very good team, not to be taken lightly. Obviously, their goaltending's hot right now. They're playing very good right now. They've won like 8 of their last 10 or something. They've been on an absolute heater, and Vancouver, first of all, needs to trample this team. But then, on April 28th, they go into Calgary. And Calgary's been heating up recently. They were cold for a bit, sure, but they're still a very good team, and now they're starting to win again. So Vancouver needs to win that game. Now, their one easy game 3 days later, on April 26th, they play Seattle. Seattle, that's a must-win right there. If they're going to give up one of these games against the good teams in their last 5, Seattle's, like, they need to win against Seattle, if that's the case. Because I think they need to win against Seattle anyway, but if they do want to have some leeway and they do manage to lose one of those games against a good team, Seattle's a must-win. This is a team that's not playing very good, a team that's definitely not going to make the playoffs, and a team that Vancouver has to beat if they want to be serious and want to actually make the playoffs. And then we go into, debatably, the biggest game, probably the biggest game in their deciding factor if they will make the playoffs, if they're still contending at this point. And the things that I said earlier have still gone their way, where they are winning their games and LA is keeping a mediocre record. They play LA, a head-to-head matchup with the team that they're competing against the playoffs for. And this could, again, decide who makes it. If LA needs, because they need to go mediocre, right? Vancouver plays a part in that. Vancouver beating them in that game could cause them to have that mediocre record, because LA probably won't, considering LA has a pretty easy schedule. Vancouver needs to roughen things up a bit, beat them, and help themselves a bit. And then I'm going to this game on April 29th, the second half of back-to-back for Vancouver. It is against Edmonton. And I'm very excited to see this game, because this could potentially be the game that decides whether Vancouver could make the playoffs as well. LA and Edmonton, both games that could decide whether Vancouver makes the playoffs, and it is really going down to the wire. But again, extremely excited for that. If Vancouver is still contending for the playoffs at that time, I'll wear this jersey. If they're not, I'll wear that jersey. So that's the plan. But again, Edmonton, a very good team, and is playing very good right now. And Vancouver, for them to take them down, that's going to be difficult. And think, looking at these games, they need to go 4-0-1. They're playing Minnesota, Calgary, LA, and Edmonton. All 4 of them are playoff teams, and they need to win all of them. And Seattle. And, like, there's only room for an overtime loss in there. And if they do manage to get a regulation loss, that just means you have to hope LA does even worse. And I just don't see that, because they're not playing a single playoff team in their last 4 games. And that's, again, where another problem lies. But right now, looking at their odds on MoneyPuck has them at a 7% as of the last time I looked, which was last night, a little bit, I'll say an hour after their loss to Ottawa. It said it updated, so I went with what it said, but 7%, honestly, I think that's about fair, maybe a little bit lower, but yeah, I think 7% is about fair, and kind of sad, because I really did want Vancouver to make the playoffs. And honestly, if Vancouver could have beat Ottawa last night and LA lost to Anaheim, we could be looking at a whole different story right now, where all Vancouver really needs to do is play as good as LA, and then they could have been in. But obviously things didn't go that way. And as for my prediction to end the video, what do I think will actually happen? Do I think Vancouver is actually capable of getting this playoff spot? And my prediction is no. And here's why. Now, it may be a boring answer, maybe the easy answer, but let me say that if they actually won that game yesterday and if LA lost, or even if Vancouver won that game yesterday, period, and LA won, whatever, they won. So if Vancouver managed to get that shootout win yesterday, which I was actually scrolling up on the score because of the stupid restricted areas. What is it? In Canada, if you don't know, in Canada, when you're trying to watch a game that's in Vancouver, Calgary, or Toronto, you can't. You just can't. And I wanted to, but you can't. So a restricted area, it's kind of stupid. It's like they don't want fans or something. The NHL doesn't want people watching their games, but whatever. But before yesterday's games, I would have said yeah, especially if Vancouver won. But now it just seems like too steep of a hill for them to climb, and I just don't think they're quite capable of doing it. As good as they are, the teams that are about to play are very tough. The teams LA is about to play are very not tough, other than Vancouver, who I think is actually playing some of their best hockey right now, for sure, 100%. They were bound to lose a game at some point, sadly to Ottawa, but bound to lose a game, and yeah, I just think it's too steep of a hill to climb for Vancouver. But why don't you guys let me know in the comments below, do you guys actually think that Vancouver is capable of making the playoffs? I remember making a video a while ago, the race in the West, and I said, I think Vancouver's out for good. And I had one comment, one believer that said, no, they're not, they got this. And I didn't respond, but I was like, I don't think so. But you know what? They proved me wrong a bit, and they have been very good. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you think that they're actually capable of getting this playoff spot? Because yeah, we'll see. But thank you guys for watching. If you are still here, I'm going to go upstairs, eat supper right away, because that's about the time it is. You're going to be seeing this the morning after I'm recording it, because I'm going to edit this tonight, post it in the morning, watch the Oilers game that's at 6:30 tonight. I don't know the result to that. You do. The Oilers are playing Dallas, so I'll be watching that, yeah. But yeah, so thank you guys for watching again, and I will see you in the next video. Oh, wow. Let's actually get it vertical. No, all right. Gotta do that every time.